introducing Dr. Taghi Alereza. Dr. Alereza is the CEO of an energy research firm that he founded over 40 years ago. He's considered an expert in the area of energy planning and energy conservation. His firm provides consultation to many large utility companies and state and federal energy agencies in US and Canada. Dr. Alereza, please start your presentation.
Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. I hope you have my...
Can you open your camera as well, please?
Okay, let me do that. I believe right now, let me just go ahead and through making my presentation.
Okay, yes, please share yours.
Yeah, right now, my presentation is fairly short because there is no any particular innovation in generating energy in order to provide the services of water to the central Iran for agriculture and other purposes. The biggest energy user for this process is going to be the pumping of pumping energy that requires to really pump the water to higher elevation. And that is going to require a tremendous amount of horsepower, energy, horsepower of the pumps in order to pump this amount of water. The amount of the size of the water, the pumps are not right now identified because it depends on the amount of water that is going to be determined based on the area that is going to be cultivated or is going to be used for other purposes. That once that requirement is identified, the pump sizes can be identified, but we expect to have maybe 500,000 to 1 million horsepower of pumping power. And some of this can be recovered. If you notice that Mr. Ziari's presentation, that it was 3 points that the water has to be pumped to the higher elevations. The last part, it ends at the point that it has a big drop at the very end. And that's a point that also some of that energy that it goes into pumping the water to higher elevation. So we can reclaim some of that energy through the process of essentially generating, putting turbines and generating some of that electricity. It's anticipated maybe somewhere maybe 10 or 15% of the total energy used for pumping only for the higher elevation can be reclaimed. One of the second part of the energy needs are going to be the energy needs for the desalination. There were a whole variety of desalination process was presented through Mr. Ziari's presentation, and depending as to what type of desalination.
Sorry, Dr. Alereza, sorry, we don't have your presentation. Are you sharing it at the moment?
I thought I was sharing, but
no, we don't have it actually. Sorry, I thought you were giving your introduction there actually. Can you please make sure you share it actually?
Let me see if I can share it, but I'm not sharing it. So let me just go ahead and make the presentation without the slides.
Okay, all right, carry on then, carry on, whatever you prefer. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me see if I can recover it. I try to. I apologize because I lost my So as I was explaining here,
regeneration of water when it comes to the downhill. When it comes to the downhill, you put a turbine there to regenerate, reclaim at least 15% of the energy again. That was very well.
Yeah, 15% maybe. Yeah, and then also I was talking about desalination, depending as to what the method of desalination we use, the amount of energy requirement would be quite different. As it was presented, that desalination by using reverse osmosis is going to be most electricity intensive, while if it is a solar desalination, it's only the requirement for the pumping the water to the units that they essentially using the solar energy to do the desalination. Beside that, also energy is required for the distribution of the water to the point of use, because if once water is desalinated, the salt is removed, then it has to be pumped to different locations, anywhere from maybe 50, 100 kilometers or more, and that would be also the distribution of the water. And again, this relative to pumping requirement is much smaller. Also, the energy required for the industrial and agricultural process, because as the agriculture processes are involved, and then it would be some industrial facilities would be also installed on the way along the water service providers. And then this also requires some additional energy, and then also required for the commercial and residential sector, because somehow after the agriculture is developed, of course, people are going to be living there. And then so they need the residential sector would also require energy, and also the services that need to be provided by for the schools, the hospitals, for the office buildings, for banks, other services that are needed to be to become in the flourishing in the presence of water and agricultural activities. Therefore, that would be needed. Now, how are we going to come up with the energy? There is a generation of electricity right now. It is essentially a standard generation. We're using some kind of fossil fuel, and for us, because of extensive natural gas, we definitely, for us, it would be the best way to generate the electricity needed. So one of the best way is to have a pipeline of gas along the side of the water transportation system. Having that, then at different points, we can generate the electricity as we need it. So that way, we don't have to have extensive transmission system associated with it. And when it's possible, also, we would be looking at the power generation for using renewable systems, particularly using solar power generation. So that would not require, again, generation capabilities that burns gas or other fossil fuels. And also we can look into evaluation of assessment of evaluation of wind energy, because wind energy can be produced only at a specific points, not necessarily at all points that we need to generate electricity. Wind energy might not be available to the level which is to be economical. So that it would be another source for generating electricity. As I said, for generating electricity for this project, essentially the technology is there already, and we have the fossil fuel to support it. Therefore, this is a doable approach for providing the needed energy for the transportation of water, but also for inhabitants and also industrial facilities that it would come to fruition after the agricultural projects take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Alereza. Thank you. Okay, without a slide presentation, but it was quite, right to the point and obviously understandable. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.